of Helwan universities. And this year, in March, we will organize competition for 5 best works. This year, that it will be dedicated to the late chairman of Alex Bank, Bruno Gamba, because Alex Bank is our partner in this project, and we hope that on that way we encourage the young people, young students, on the beginning of their career, to continue their work. And also we have prepared already memorandum of understanding between 2 ministries for sport and in our case youth. I think also that here in Egypt sport and youth are the same ministry. We think that we can exchange in that field a lot of experience, and we believe that our experience can be instrumental for Egypt.
Let me also ask you about your views of the terrorism that Egypt is facing.
This is a very serious question, and we pay full attention on the event in Egypt. We regret and condemn very much attacks on soldiers, on innocent people, and all the victims of the terrorist acts. What is developing and what is going on is subject of the attention of all European countries and the European Union as well, because our people are mobile, our people are traveling, our people are sometimes accept dangerous ideas, ideas which only can harm others. For everything, also from our experience, we can say that dialogue and compromise is the best way to achieve all kinds of intentions. So in that sense, the fight against terrorism we are taking very, very seriously.
Gospodine ministre, gospodine komisaru.
Foreign Minister Ivica Dacic says that Serbia's good relations with Brussels and Moscow will be the country's advantage during the upcoming OSCE presidency. Serbia will take over as the chair of the organization on January the 1st. He pointed out that the experience of the post-conflict society would be another advantage as well. On the eve of the annual ministerial meeting of the OSCE, Dacic said that the conflict areas occupy an important place on the agenda of the organization, and this refers not only to Ukraine, but also to Nagorno-Karabakh, Transnistria and Georgia. The minister said, "We firmly believe, and I'm sure that the belief is shared by the other members of the OSCE, that the experience we have as a post-conflict society built on its negotiations and agreements cannot be contributing but also be a valuable negotiating advantage when dealing with the issues." Dacic added that the same applies to the position of Serbia as a candidate for the membership in the European Union, which at the same time has a traditionally close relationship with Russia. He added that both Brussels and Moscow underlined the position precisely because of the principled and increasingly successful foreign policy of Serbia, which will be focusing next year on the OSCE presidency. The two-day ministerial meeting of the organization, which begins on Thursday, will mark the end of Switzerland's presidency. Serbia welcomes the historic American-Cuba agreement on humanitarian release of prisoners and opening a new chapter in the relations between the two countries. With the experiences in mind, they are convinced that the opening of these issues can only be solved through dialogue and active efforts towards overcoming the differences and promoting and interests. The decision on normalizing the relations is significant for the two countries, as well as for the entire international community, as it represents a symbol of the triumph of diplomacy, which is important in the context of the current developments in the international relations. Several media outlets were reporting today opponents of President Barack Obama's new Cuba policy have threatened to block the efforts to restore the diplomatic relations after 50 years of hostility. Florida Senator Marco Rubio promised to block the nomination of any American ambassador to Cuba. Other anti-Castro legislators suggested this would remove the funding for any normalized ties with the country.
I'd also like to ask you a little bit about Serbia's foreign policy. Let me start off with the Middle East. I mean, where does the country stand with regard to the turbulence in Libya, the war on Daesh in Iraq and Syria? That sort of foreign policy?
Serbia has a strong orientation toward membership of the European Union. Serbia is the candidate. Serbia has candidate status, and now these negotiations, the European Union are open. Serbia has to harmonize legislation in all specific chapters. And, that is something that we are very determined. We are very determined to be next member of European Union. We believe, and next to 7 years we can achieve that. But regardless of that, Serbia has, its historical relations and foreign policy independent from European Union have a very strong legacy of non-alignment movement. We have strong legacy of the relations with third world. You know, this was with the countries where we were together in the movement, and among those, some of the countries are pillars for our foreign policy. Among those pillars is Egypt, because Egypt we consider as most critical country in the Middle East, you know, and also it is a gate to Africa. The reasons for that are our historical relations with Egypt. From other priorities here in the region, I think it is important to mention the fast and very positive development of the relationships between Serbia and the United Arab Emirates. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince from Abu Dhabi, several times visited Serbia, and Serbia and national company of Emirates, Etihad, established joint company, Air Serbia, which operates tremendously well. There is dozen projects and investment from Emirates to Serbia, and I have to say that we have a lot of our very educated people working in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. One of the next focus of our foreign policy is development of the relations with Gulf countries. We are going to open embassy in Saudi Arabia very soon. We are going to open embassy in Oman, and that is we recognize importance of this region. It is something new beside our existing embassy. The other two foreign political direction, which are important for us, our relationship with Russia and China. Russia is historically a traditional Serbian ally, and in fact we never had the problems with Russia in our history. Russia helped Serbia a lot of times in critical periods of history, and we have a lot of economic cooperation with Russia in energy field, in logistics and transport.